Why you should definitely apply for a Marie Curie funded PhD position. Hi, my name is Payal. I am a postdoctoral researcher in Germany. I finished my PhD end of 2024 and I was a Marie Curie PhD fellow. So you must be wondering, what is this Marie Curie PhD funded position? So in this video, I'm going to tell you about what Marie Curie fellowships are, how are they different from other kinds of PhD program, and I will also share my honest experience of the good, the bad, and the challenges of being a Marie Curie PhD fellow. So let's start with what is the Marie Curie Fellowship. So it is a EU European Union funded program which focus on the training and mobility of people. What makes them different is that they focus on researchers and not just research projects. So I was part of a European Union Marie Curie project called PESPIN. It was an international collaborative project in which my university in Germany, along with many other universities across Europe, were part of the project with one simple goal. So this project ended end of 2024, around the time when I finished my PhD, and you can always find similar positions on their website. Actually, I will put the link somewhere. So, what are the goals of this Marie Curie Fellowship? So, their main goal is to train the scientist through international mobility. So, that's the first thing. So, what is this international mobility? You must be wondering. Okay. So, they have a clear rule that the professor who got a PhD position can only hire a person who has been not in that country for more than 12 months at the time that they are going to start. So let me explain what it means. Okay. So, for example, if you're from India, so you came to Germany or you're planning to come to Germany, and if you apply for a PhD position here on a Marie Curie funded position, then your a professor would like to hire you because he cannot hire somebody from that country or a person who has been in that country longer than 12 months. For example, okay, you apply to a position from India. There is this other person who was already in Germany, did his or her master's in Germany, and then applied to a similar position. And then there's a German citizen who also applied for that position. Then you are the only person actually eligible for that position, because the other two people are not even eligible to be hired for that position because they have been in that country for longer than 12 months. So this is one of the things that I really liked about this fellowship, because it really promotes that international mobility, that if you are in one country, it would be nice for you to go to another country to do, your PhD or your research. Another point that it really focuses on is interdisciplinary research. So in my project, for example, I can tell you from my experience that in my project we had some people from chemistry, some people from physics, and a lot of us from biology, because I have a PhD in biology. So all of us together were kind of working towards one similar goal. Okay, so that's another advantage, that you get to collaborate or at least know about these other fields, and you can make collaborations and publish together, for example. Then another advantage of this is that it also train the scientists to, or try to give to the scientist, exposure to industry or like non-academic sector, for example. Okay, so coming back to my example that I had, so in my PESPIN project, we had, I think, 12 or so universities, or maybe less. I don't remember. I will put the numbers. So whatever number of universities from across the Europe, and I think at least 4 or 5 industry people were also part of the project. So in some industries, they hired a PhD to do the part of the project, and in some industries, they only were part of it so that they can invite other PhD fellows to their company and like show them around how things work there and stuff like that. So what they're really trying to do is they want to train scientists to not do just experiments in one lab. They actually want a well-rounded researcher. Okay, so coming on to the next part, what are the types of Marie Curie fellowships? So there are different types, but the most common ones are the ones for the PhD position, and there are also ones for the postdoc position. The ones for PhD position, usually professors from around the universities who know each other or who want to collaborate or like make a project together. They write a project and submit it to EU, and like if it is approved, then each one of them can get one or even more PhD students to work on that project. So this is one way. And the other way is of the postdoctoral fellowships, in which you can actually contact a professor and say that you would like to write a Marie Curie uh, grant with them. And like if it is approved, then you can definitely just move there and continue the project. So I like the advantage that in the PhD part, you don't have to write a grant proposal or whatever to actually get the position. That work is already done by the professor. Okay. So your part is to just find a position that fits you. And if the professor likes you, he might take you for that position. So this is one of the really nice points of it, I think. So coming to the next part, how is a Marie Curie fellowship or like a Marie Curie PhD different from another regular PhD at a university in Germany, at least I can tell you. Okay, so in my case, as part of PESPIN project, there were some requirements that I needed to fulfill. For example, I was supposed to attend summer schools every year, okay, where all of the people from PESPIN will get together. You have to give update of your project, you have to give a presentation, you get some trainings and some courses that can help you, for example, how to give a presentation, how to write a paper, how to write a grant, how to give an elevator pitch, for example. So we had every summer around September, October, like let's say a mini conference. We used to call them summer schools. Another advantage, I would say, was that together with it came compulsory secondments. I'm not sure if it is there in all of the projects, but if it was written in the proposal that the professor submitted, then you have to go for a compulsory secondment to another university. So this is like you just go to the other university, you can work there, you can collaborate there, and then that's really nice. For example, during my PhD, I went to Denmark in Copenhagen for 1.5 months and did some my project work there. And then I also went for 1.5 months in France, in Lyon. So those were really helpful, and like I get to experience completely different culture of completely different lab setup from my lab, and it was really nice. I would say this was one of the best star points of a Marie Curie fellowship, I would say. Then you get to have regular meetings with professors who are part of your project. So they can really give you good advice. For example, they can give you, if you have any problem, they can give you a solution. You can collaborate. If you need to do microscopy and one of the person in the project do microscopy, you can just contact them easily. So it also helps you build a network of people, at least at the PhD level with all the PhD fellows that you are, and also at the professor level, all the professors that are part of your project will at least know you and can help you in many ways. Okay, now comes the part of, for example, how much does it pay? Is it less than a regular PhD or is it more? So, honestly speaking, when I asked around, it was slightly more than a regular PhD at university. So, in Germany, they pay 65% of E13 level for PhDs. And as you grow, then it increases. But for me, it was a fixed money that I was getting. But and no bonuses. That was the disadvantage. No Christmas bonus. But overall, I think it was a slightly bit more money than other PhD at my university were getting. Another advantage is I don't know if it's an advantage or disadvantage, but it's fixed for whatever term it is. So if the project says that the money is for a 3-year PhD, then it will be 36-month fellowship that you will get. So anything more or more if needed, then your professor needs to arrange it, or maybe you have to try to finish it within 3 years. Okay, so that's a bit strict, but they do not say that at the end of 3 year you need to hand in your PhD thesis. They give you some extra time. Like if you want to still continue your research at the university, you can continue and then finish whenever you want to. So besides these, there were also some other requirements for us. For example, we were supposed to do some outreach activities like do some science communication at the university, or write a popular science article that general people can understand, or visit a school, for example, and like motivate kids about science. Besides these, there were also like many requirements of every 6 to 12 months you need to submit a report of the project progress. Then there were some meetings that were compulsory from the European Union side that you needed to be a part of, and like kind of present your project in like 3 minutes. I think one time we had to do that. It was not a lot, but it was quite some work that you need to do. So, to quickly summarize the pros and cons, and honestly, my experience, I would highly recommend if you find a PhD position related to Marie Curie Fellowship, then I would say definitely. If you think you are a good fit for the position, definitely apply for it. I do not advise to randomly apply to everything that you see, because I think if you cannot convince yourself that you are the right person for the position, it would be difficult to sell that part. Okay. So I see applying for PhD positions as, if you fit somewhere, then it's easier to sell yourself saying that I am the right person and you should definitely hire me. Okay. But if you yourself are like, there are requirements, I barely match anything, but let's just give it a try. You can give it a try without investing a lot of your time. But if you have to make a good application and invest your time, then I would highly recommend that you focus on positions where you are sure that at least from my point of view, I fit there. Or like I'm at least interested in that part, and I can then sell on the part that I'm really interested in this topic. Okay, so quickly pros. So, excellent funding, international experience, strong CV value if you had like you were a Marie Curie fellow. You get to network across Europe, you get to visit industry, you get to visit other places for summer schools and secondments, and you have a structured training which would be otherwise missing. For example, if you are a regular student at the university, you would be missing on all of these things that I just said. Okay. So it's really nice. I would say definitely apply for a Marie Curie funded position if you find one. What are the cons of it? Okay, everything is not sugar coated, everything is not nice. Definitely, there are definitely cons. For example, there's more pressure of reporting things, of all the meetings. So you need to go there, although it will be paid by Marie Curie to go wherever you want to for the meetings, etc. But I mean, it still adds to your planning, your plan for the year, and everything. Then there were quite some fixed deadlines of like on 18th month you need to submit the report of results of this and this. Quite some administrative workload because you really needed to fill so many things. For example, I remember in the beginning I was supposed to write a career plan of like what I want to achieve in life, for including like a 5-year plan and a 10-year plan. So quite some work. And also it's a bit less flexible than a traditional PhD, because like from the beginning you know that okay, it's so far limited to the 3-year funding, and then later on your professor can think of like if you would like to extend it or not, or otherwise you try to like finish within 3 years all the lab work, maybe also writing part, and attend almost 3 months of secondments outside, then go for 3 summer schools, and then you're also supposed to attend some conferences. So all of that adds up. You get very little time to do the actual research, I have to say. So who should apply for a Marie Curie fellowship? If you're interested in international exposure, okay, if you're open to moving countries, if you like structured programs, if you are aiming for an academic or like you want to build your CV, then definitely apply. And if you are considering Marie Curie, my biggest advice is read the project description carefully. Do your research about the professor whose lab you want to apply to. Talk to the current and previous PhD fellows of that lab to know about the environment of the lab, and be prepared for both opportunities and responsibilities. So that's all from my side. See you guys in the next video with a new topic. If you have any questions, please write them down in the comment section and I will be happy to answer them in the comments, or I will make another video. Okay, bye bye.